G'day guys and welcome to another episode of Wild World Adventures. A short episode this time. We are going to show you a little bit about what it takes to travel Australia in a camper trailer. More of how we travel around Australia in the camper trailer for almost 2 years now.
Almost,
yes. So we are set up for remote traveling. We visit a lot of remote places. If you have a look at our channel, you'll see that we go really deep into the sticks, and that's probably one reason why we have a camper trailer.
Yep.
The other reason is because there was just nothing else available when we bought it.
on COVID time.
But anyway, so in this video, we are going to show you around our camper trailer and what we do to make it work traveling around Australia. All right, so we've opted for a MDC cruiser high side. Well, we haven't quite opted for it. At the time we bought the camper trailer was during COVID, and we just could not buy anything off the shelf.
Yeah.
We didn't want to wait too long. The lead times were almost a year. It was ridiculous at the time. So we went with a second-hand camper trailer, which was in pretty good nick, and we decided to buy that. It is a 2016 model, so whatever you see here now is probably very outdated. If you're looking at buying a new MDC cruiser high side, they'll probably be fitted with a lot of different options than this one. Particularly things like the poles. They're all made out of steel in this one. I believe the new ones are aluminium, which I would love to have because those things are super heavy and we hate them. We literally hate them. But anyway, we'll show you a little bit around it first. So let's do the outside. We have a full annex that closes everything off, and we use that when we're in the caravan park. So we get a bit more privacy and we can store our stuff a bit more safely. Also, it protects from the midges and insects and so forth.
Just now, they have the...
Yeah, so that's a bit of a problem here, is this stuff is only attached by Velcro. And it doesn't hold much, so any wind takes that down.
Oh, it's not strong enough.
We've had a few failures now with rain and so forth, so but a bit more to that later on. So this attaches basically to the main camper trailer.
Here is the refrigerator. It's quite big space for the refrigerator. I pulled it out.
Yep, and that is a 90-litre Waco fridge we carry there. Dual compartment. The reason for that is we can use one as a freezer and one as a fridge. At the moment, we've got another fridge in our canopy, so we use that as a freezer, and that one is one section is for the meat and the drinks, which is slightly colder than the ones for the vegetables. Because those dual fridges, you've got to be careful. If you run them too cold, you'll freeze all your veggies in there. So we run them at +2 degrees, which is just fine for vegetables. And then we run the meat compartment at 1 degree, I think. That's what Anyway, it changes all the time.
And this is for the storage.
Yeah, so that's one of the storage compartments, and I've got to give a note here, storage is very hard to come by in this camper trailer.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot.
It's everything. When you're gonna pull out one thing, you have to tag everything out,
Yeah, so
and then tag one out, then you put the rest in.
you have to be really organised, I can tell you that. Super organised. And if you are as useless as us with gear, we've got way too much. Anyway.
And then talk about this. So we have another section. This one we like to put all the seasonings that's easy to grab when we're cooking, or the dishes in here.
Yep, and so what we've done here is we put this little box in here, and we keep our veggies in there.
Yeah. Eggs too.
And the reason for that is if you have an enclosed space like a tupper box or a Sistema box, the stuff sweats and it gets moldy. So this basket is aerated a little bit, so it's got these little holes in there. And so the spuds and onions and things like that, they will just stay fresh a bit longer.
Yeah.
And on top of it, I've got a little chopping board, and that's good to make sandwiches on the side of the road quickly. You pull that out, you know, you've got your little prep area.
Yeah.
Here we keep all our sauces. We keep them in trays.
Seasoning.
So if they bust or anything like that, it doesn't ruin the whole drawer. The laugh happened. All right, then on this side, we've got our kitchen, a standard pull-out kitchen without much fuss. Yep. There is a 3-burner gas stove here and a sink. which we always have to connect once it's pulled out. Bit of a pain in the bum, but I know some newer models, they have that always connected, which is probably a bit easier to set up, but that's just what this one is. Little cutlery tray, drawer. There is some storage in the back here actually.
We decided to press the cups or glass in there. It's more easy to grab it.
Yeah. This also has a bit of lighting. If you can see that here, there is lights here, and I think there is lights underneath here as well.
Connected.
We don't use those lights. We have separate lights, and we mount them on the top here.
We have so much light.
We've tried a lot of different light, guys, a lot of different lights, and it came down to actually 2 lights that we use the most.
Yeah.
So these ones are super handy. They're LED lights, and they're in the Velcro strap.
Yep.
And they got these little hooks, so very versatile. We can connect them anywhere.
We have both 2 colors, light, warm light.
And that's super important when you're considering lights. Always go for those 2 options, because the bright one, if you need super bright light, and the orange one or the yellow one doesn't attract the flies and the flying insects in general.
Yeah.
So if I would turn that white one on here at night, you'll get a lot of insects, which you don't want.
Mossy.
This roof is always attached to it. We hardly ever take that off. That just folds together with the camper trailer, because we always need that space. We always want to be prepared for when it rains or when the sun comes out and have a bit of protection. We lay out this little mat. Now this is only a El Cheapo King's mat, but it's done the job, I gotta say.
No, it's good.
There are better options out there, I know. They let the sand go through a bit more, but they're also a lot pricier. So this came with the camper trailer. We haven't had to change it yet. It does the job, so that's what we got. Then we've got a little low height table there. That's something that we just started to use just to get stuff off the floor, and a storage space underneath it that's a bit more hidden. So that's a good good little trick to have.
Keep all the messy away.
This part actually comes off, so we can remove that, and we only do that when we have everything set up, really, because the mozzies, obviously. There is a ensuite actually we've had, I should say,
Yeah.
that attached to this on the outside, and a lot of the camper trailers have that. It broke. It broke straight away. I think it was never used when we set it up first time, and I think it lasted maybe a week or 2. The wind, so it just, yeah. And these are the lights that I've talked about. These are the ones that we like the best. They are awning lights actually, and they come with these Velcro straps, so we can put them onto the bracing here, and they have dual lights as well. So orange light, and they have a white light, both together. And then here we have our lounge.
Yay!
Bed, obviously.
Bedroom.
With the best feature that I personally like is that window over there. Waking up in the morning and having the first light, you know, sunrise come up and being right on the beach, it's just unbeatable. We love it. You're high up. It is actually a super comfy bed. We had to modify this slightly though. So we put an air mat underneath it, an self-inflatable air mattress on top of the standard mattress. You can get upgraded mattresses for this, but they're $1,000 and we didn't want to do that just yet. We've also had some trouble with the actual top or bottom, whatever you want to call it, sagging, and created a bit of a hole, which was a pain in the back actually, a literal pain in the back. So we put some padding underneath it, and I think that solved the problem sort of.
So we can shut the door to separate between bedroom and the lounge.
So yeah, this part here actually comes down all the way, so you can separate the 2 compartments, which is quite handy if you have this one side open and you want to be sure that there's no mozzies in there. You can have the fly screen down, or what we also do is we use the full cover and then stick our air conditioner in there. There is a video about this air conditioner that we got. I'll put again a link somewhere up here, have a look, and that's how we actually operate an air condition in the camper trailer. But this one has to be shut. Alright, one mod that I've done straight away on this one is I've chucked out the table that was in here. Now those tables that come with a camper trailer, they are made to turn this area into a bed space, which is probably helpful if you've got kids, but you'll lose all your seating area. Useless for us, we're only a couple. So we've chucked the table out, and I've built something on that sort of swivels around, and this is my favourite mod on this whole camper trailer. So all I used is a bit of galvanised piping. I've made a mount over here that with a bit of PVC piping slipped in there that acts as a sort of sleeve, and then I can now fold this around. I can sit in here with Jenny there, we can have breakfast together, we can watch the morning news, I can swivel it away, out of the way, no one sits over there ever, so we don't need that space. We actually use it as storage. We put our laptop down there or other things that we got flying around, and they just hide nicely underneath the table. I could also, if I want to lounge in the evening, I can swing that all the way around, and I could work here or watch television, and that goes for both ways. Super good. And it actually comes apart, so when we pack up, this whole table turns off. I'll just show you that. There you go. And that comes out, and that's all it is. It's pretty simple. Now for the top, I had some plywood, and I'll polish it up. You can see it has a bit of discoloration. That's because we had water leak in here. And you can see the flooring as well, it's all discoloured, and that's what the rainy season does to you. It moisture gets in here somehow, and yeah, it just ruins a lot of it, unfortunately. So we're going to have to replace this flooring. Now, in terms of lighting, we actually got LED lights down here as well. We had these LED lights before we had the top lights, and they turn on over here. They're RGB lights, so you can change the colour and make a bit of mood lighting in here, which is pretty cool when you're watching a movie. You turn this into red or blue or something. And it's just connected by a USB outlet that I've mounted in the bottom. This wasn't stock standard either, I mounted that in. We also have another 12 volt plug here. We have a stereo system here with 2 speakers. There's one over there. There's another speaker over here. Underneath here we got our battery system and charging system. I'm not going to show you all the details of that. If you're interested what it exactly is, let me know. Drop a comment below. I'm happy to give you all the details. But plain and simple, we've got 360 amp hour AGM batteries as a power source, which is powered by EnerDrive DC to DC charger, and also a 240 volt AC inverter or charger, 240 volt charger. Also an EnerDrive 40 amp hours, and that's been doing us really well. I'll probably go a little bit more detail in another video about all these electrical parts, because that's a whole different ball game. And if you're planning your electrical wiring, think far in advance, do your research well before you start buying things. I've changed this around heaps of times because I didn't research enough, and I probably didn't spend enough money on it, which bit me in the bum because I had to rip it all out and do it all new again. So yep, in short, 360 amp hours powered by a 600 watt solar panel, which I can show you probably later on outside. It's currently hooked up, and we're at 100% charge, and it's 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, so, which is pretty good. And here I've got, talking about electrics, I've got a 1000 watts pure sine inverter underneath the seat as well, and I can switch that on to power my batteries and at the moment the TV, because the 12 volt system is broken. That's that. Heaps of power so available. Down here, okay, this is maybe another cool mod. This one here I just recently built, which is a little shelf. Now, we've never used this seating space, and we always filled it up with crap, and then when you had to get the stuff, there was crap on top of crap. So we decided to make this little shelf. Let me see if I can show you that a bit closer. Move this over. So this actually comes off and then folds together, and then I can store it pretty much where the seat was. I drilled a little hole in here, so I don't want to take it apart because it holds some cabling in there. But yeah, underneath it you can see we store some stuff in there. There's our fan. We got some electrical bits, a speaker system. I'll hold my cables in there. You can see here we've got more. I put 2 more plugs in there, 2 more cigarette lighter plugs to power stuff up. And yep, that sort of makes it all nice and tidy. All it is a bit of plywood, and that on a piano hinge. Yeah, I'll show you. So that's on a piano hinge there, and then you can fold that together. So a super cool mod, because it is very rare, or I have never seen anyone having a party in one of these camper trailers. So what's the point of having all that seating space? We use it a bit more wisely that way. Alright, let's put that back. And so this is here, this is actually our internet. To that we'll get into again another video, how we run the internet in here, and if we have internet. Touchy subject at the moment. What else we got? We've got a storage space underneath here. So that's the only probably proper internal storage space that we can lock up. And we keep valuables in there. When we go away for the day or so forth, I'll keep the valuables in there locked up. And yeah, I doubt anyone will break in. There's also storage space underneath all these seats. Oh, no. That's doing there.
Rubbish.
Yeah, we keep odds and ends in here.
Yeah, all the crap.
Yeah, more crap in there. Yeah, you can never have enough storage. Sort of stuff that you sometimes need. Okay, what else do we got? We've got a little 12 volt fan here that's set up. We don't often use it, but at the moment, yeah, we don't need it because it's not that hot. We've got a TV, maybe I'll show you that. So this TV is pretty cool.
Become my cloth hanger.
If Ginny removes her clothes, you can actually see that it's on a swivel which attaches to the pole here. And all we need to do is do these butterfly wings up or undo them to pack them up. And then we can watch television from the lounge, but we can also swing it around and watch from the bedroom.
Yeah. My favorite time.
Yep. Another cool thing we have is a projector, which works in here as well. And the projector, we hooked it up to the end of our bed, and we turn this into a big wide screen, and we have a cinema in here. Now, don't think living in a camper trailer doesn't mean luxury. We've got a few gadgets here. We power this TV, or we use this TV with Chromecast. Rubbish. Oh my god. So much drama with this thing. I almost have to do another video on this. So yeah, it's not a smart TV. It's definitely not smart at all. But yeah, you can plug a USB stick in there. That works. The sound is pretty crap, hence we've got the speakers in there. We can hook it up. But we don't watch a lot of TV. We maybe watch a series or something before we go to bed and Netflix or something.
Once in a while.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the inside here. Yeah, that's our camper trailer, and that's how we live. Let's have a look on the outside, the chassis and the modifications I've done to make this a bit more off-road capable. Come and we have a look. Alright, here you can see the solar panel hooked up. That's a kick-ass 600 watt solar panel, which I can highly recommend. That thing is super good. It puts in about 16 amps per hour, which is insane. And the best solar panel I've had so far. It's not a lightweight, that's the downside of it. It does weigh a ton. So this little handy gadget is my amp meter. And it shows me what the charge of the battery is. That's one of the latest add-ons I've done. I didn't have that before. I used the OEM version, or the original version was just a normal voltmeter, but with just the voltage on there, which is accessible from the outside of the camper trailer. if that makes any sense, and it just wasn't accurate enough for me. And one day I'm going to upgrade this one to lithium, and then I can't use that voltmeter anymore. So I'll put that inner drive one in. It's not cheap, but it was well worth it. It is so good. I can see how many amps are going in, how many amps I'm drawing, and so forth. So that's a bit from the electrical side. I've pretty much taken all the old stuff out and rewired everything new. On the front, probably this hitch is new, and I think it's called Mech Hitch, and it's been super good. I don't know much about hitches. This was on there before already. I know the original ones have these poly blocks on there, but the Mech Hitch is a super good hitch, and we've never had a drama with it. This is the back end of the camper trailer. There's a huge storage compartment here, which is always full. Oh, here, this is a good mod. This one here doesn't work now. Is a solar light from Bunnings, $10. How good is that? And it turns on at night, and then when you're trying to access these doors, you've got light straight away. And all modern versions of camper trailers probably have lights in these compartments already. This one doesn't, so I put one in there just up here. There you go, and I can turn that on, and then I got lights inside that compartment, and you want that. You want light in there. You don't want to come around here with a flashlight every night. So this is the tunnel boot here that just goes all the way through to the other side. It has another drawer in there and food items mainly. Here you can see the 240 volt inlet when we're parked up in the caravan park, and then that there is the solar panel. Now underneath here we've got a generator as a backup, and we do have to use that every once in a while, especially when we got cloudy days or when we were parked up under trees for an extended period of time, and then we have to crank that up for a couple of hours to charge the batteries. Another super important upgrade that we've done is the suspension. Now the suspension, guys, there is a separate video on this, again, how I've upgraded it and why I've upgraded it. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details. Watch the video if you want to see that. But it made a lot of difference. So I highly recommend upgrading that. That's pretty much it. So from this side, now toilets, number twos, number ones. How do we do it? Where do we do it? I'll show you next. Jenny, the things no one wants to talk about.
Toilet.
That's right. How do we do it?
Dig the hole, dump shit in there, cover it properly.
Yep. So when we're out in the bush, we actually dig a hole, and we do dig a hole. You'll be amazed how many people don't know that.
Oh,
They'll just do their number two somewhere, and just there's toilet paper flying around everywhere. And we hate it. We hate it with a passion. We cannot understand why people do it. Dig a bloody hole, guys. It's not hard. So where's our shovel? We've got a dedicated shovel for that.
You know, we've been traveling for almost 2 years. It's the most ridiculous I have ever seen on the remote camping area. It's such a nice natural.
Yeah, and then people ruin it. They just trash it. We just had guys living right there. They put into a dunner bucket or whatever it's called, thunder bucket, into a plastic bag and just dropped it on the side of the road.
Opposite, not too far from our camp. Even the tissue, toilet paper flying around.
So wherever we can, we go out and dig a hole. It's no biggie to us at all. I mean, the mozzies can pester you a little bit, but Jenny, you've done a really cool thing this morning. Tell us what you've done this morning.
All right, I just used this Ensuite. Move around far away from the campsite to find an easy way to dig the hole. Anywhere in here easy to dig the hole because I have sand. So I just move my Ensuite in the corner far away and then dig the hole. Sit inside the Ensuite. Privacy. No mosquitoes.
So whenever you guys are in a campsite and you see an Ensuite moving around somewhere on the beach, look out, might be Jenny in there. There's our bathtub. And there's a potty in there.
And a bucket in there.
And there's a bucket, yeah. Look guys, really simple, but you get used to it. You know, we've now built a shower system, which I should say is still under
process.
it's,
Not a progress.
it's still in design phase, so it's a better version, which is that one down there, and it is a 12-volt pump that uses the water from here. Now, this is another mod that we've done. We put a 30-litre water canister in the back here, and we use that for shower. And the reason we do that is we wanted to keep the main water tank separate, or keep that only clean water, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this one here is rainwater or water we collect from the creek, something that doesn't have to be drinkable.
Yeah.
So anything we put into our main tank, which is 110 litres by the way, we filter, and this stuff doesn't get filtered. But you can see it's at the moment it's connected, and it's super simply connected to a garden hose. We removed one of the spare tyres and put our outboard engine on a mount there. This is something I had to do. Yeah, let's have a look at the camper trailer and I'll show you what I mean. So have a look at this camper trailer and have a look where the wheels are in comparison to the whole chassis. It is pretty far back. Now, weight distribution is a very important thing because you want to keep your tow ball weight at a reasonable level. Now, when you look into how much you can tow or how much tow ball weight you have to take everything you load into consideration. So your GVM, your total gross volume that you can carry legally on the road, is one thing. So that means everything together, your car, your camper trailer, all the load together. You drive it over a weight bridge and then you'll see if you're on point or not. And your tow ball weight being the weight on your tow ball on the front. And the only way you can reduce that really is by distributing your weight. Now that's the reason why I've put a lot of weight or the outboard in the back. I had trouble with tow ball weight because all the mounting stuff or all the heavy items are usually mounted in the front here. So we've got our liquids in the front, other than the water tank which is mounted in the back, just behind the wheels. A lot of the heavy stuff is in the front, and it just gave me too much tow ball weight. Hence, I have that water bucket in the back there as well. I try to get as much weight to the back as I can. Now, here is the boat loader, by the way, in an unfolded state, and you can see that we have the heavy items towards the back. That is our high lift jack, and I also have the boat trailer up here as well. Although it doesn't weigh much, we try to keep as much weight towards the back to get less tow ball weight. Now, you've got to take that with a pinch of salt because don't overdo this. You do want tow ball weight. If your weight distribution is off, your camper trailer can sway, and then that gives you all sorts of trouble. So that's something you should consider when going traveling long term, what you take and redistribute it on the camper trailer and what you put on the car. All right, let's talk about elements. If you live in a camper trailer full time, you're exposed to the elements, to every element. You're exposed to animals, which in this case is we've had mice in there, turn havoc on us. I couldn't find the bloody thing for weeks, and it started chewing up carpets and started making a nest in there and thought it could move in. We had ants in there. They're very easy to climb up the sides. Now this is probably something that you can get in a caravan as well, but because everything is exposed, all your food is exposed outside, you have to be very tidy with everything. You have to close all your hatches up at night. You want to get everything off the ground to prevent rodents from coming into your campsites. So that's just animals. Then you've got wind. Wind is a no-go for a camper trailer. Yes, you can manage in it. You could probably get 1 minute of sleep if you're lucky. But other than that, your tropical roof, which is the top layer of the roof, if you can see that up there, that is a godsend for when it gets really hot and it's raining, because it prevents actually the heavy raindrops to come down and also the sun from getting too hot in there, but it also flaps in the wind and it makes a terrible noise. It goes flap, 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 and then 5 minutes later it goes flap, 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 flap. It goes a lot of flap, flap, flaps, and you can't actually get a night's sleep. So wind, no good. Also, these annexes are not very good with the wind either. So we've had the thing collapse before. We've had it collapse with heavy rain because it created pools on the top there. Now, disclaimer here, I'm not saying every camper trailer is the same. I doubt it. This might be just our version, but that's just something to consider. So we can set this up so the rain runs off a bit easier, but that means dropping the front down and making sure that there is a steep angle for the rain to drop off and it cannot pull. Anyway, it's possible, but a fair bit of issues with it. The Velcro strap on that attaches the walls to the roof is a bloody nightmare. It's useless. It's worn out probably a little bit. Maybe when it's brand new it works, but after you set these things up a few times they just wear out.
But this zip is good on the side.
Yeah, I don't know why they couldn't do zips. They have zips to connect the whole thing together on the sides, but they don't have zips to connect this to the top, and you can see it just pulls off. So that's another drama we had with the camper trailer. Another thing that's probably important to take in consideration, they're not made for long-term living in them. So
Must be.
they are very handy when you go out on your weekend trips and spend a couple of weekends away with the family. For long-term traveling, it's pretty hard sometimes because the materials and everything wears down. There's a lot of maintenance we have to do. A lot of times we have to fix like the mesh on the screens, the zippers, because you use them every day and they break. Then you take them off road and even more stuff breaks.
And we have to respray for the waterproof.
The waterproofing,
often.
that's right. Yeah, we have to do that almost every year, and we still have trouble with it. So
still dribbling.
yeah. So that's all things you got to take into consideration. Now, let's talk about the good things though. I personally love being out in nature, and this just gets me a whole lot closer to it. In a caravan,
It's quite restriction.
you're in a little house again, I actually love being out under the stars, and this just makes it, it makes it a whole lot of experience, a whole different experience. The noise you have, you can hear the ocean, you can hear the birds in the morning. I really enjoy that part of it. And the places I can take the camper trailer to is probably its biggest benefit.
Yeah.
So we take that thing onto tracks that you would never dare to take a caravan on.
Yeah.
We have no height restrictions other than the car on the ute. So we can go underneath trees and stuff. We can back this thing into a corner, we can pull it back out. We can do a lot more with it than you could with a caravan. And that's probably the best benefit of it.
Or the camper trailer.
Overall, we will probably upgrade to a caravan. But that's just because, living in it full time is a different thing. I got to sit in there and I got to edit all these cool videos I'm bringing to you guys, and sometimes it gets bloody hot in there.
Yeah.
We spent some time in Darwin in the Northern Territory, and it was absolutely stinking hot in there.
Yeah.
And sit in a caravan, sit in a camper trailer, it wasn't pleasant, even with the air condition running.
Yeah.
And then obviously the elements. So we are restricted to areas more by the weather than the terrain. We wouldn't go in cold weather, I think, with this.
No, maybe springtime.
Yeah, I don't think, even though we could put a heater in there, we are attempting now to go South Australia soon, and then we're going to find out what it's like, if we can heat this thing up or not. But probably anything snow or something is a no-go, definitely a no-go.
No.
Rain.
No snow, no wet season.
Yeah.
Summer, we still can bear it.
I'd rather have the heat in there, to be honest,
Yeah.
rather than the rain. The rain's a real killer on this. We've had there is actually a floor, this one here. This is a vinyl floor that we've used. We're drying it out at the moment because we used it in the caravan park. And that's pretty cool because it gives you a dry surface to walk on when it's really raining and you're on the grass patch or something. All right, well, that's it. That's how we live on the road. That's our camper trailer, our modifications, and what we've done to it. I hope you guys get a few ideas out of it and make your life on the road a bit easier, or give you an idea what you have to do if you're interested in doing the same thing as us, travel around Australia in a camper trailer. That's it from us. Hope to see you again in another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Take care, guys, and see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe or leave us some comment. Thank you for watching. We see you in next episode.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See ya.